There it is. All right. Can you see the slides, guys? You can?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
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 Let's go. As you know, the meeting is recorded and shared on YouTube. It's interesting, important to take into account. It's also a very extra happy occasion because it is our 25th meeting. Time flies when you're having fun. I found this picture. I thought it was a good token of celebration. 25th meeting with sort of a standard agenda, where I would like to ask the question to you, if there are any things that you would like to have added on the agenda as far as not part of the standard work updates. So is there anything you would like to put on the agenda to discuss or to bring to the table? Giving you an opportunity to report. Ahmed, I see you waving. Is that a waving no?
Yes.
Or is that a... Go ahead.
Yes. In the early days, I always had a problem to understand the different, let's say, branches under OWASP AI, whether it's requirements, mathematical, or the act. So I guess if I can, or anyone can help me with that, can make some sort of a simple explanation document or simple introductory to guys, we have 1, 2, 3, we do ta-ta-ta. If you want to ta-ta-ta, contact Rob, just for us, only internal, nothing exposed to public.
Right.
That
It's our internal organization and
yes.
who's who. Okay. I think that warrants for we're going to discuss it. Going to put it on the agenda, but we also need to put it on the Google document at a prominent place so people can find it and refer to it. Good point. Any other points?
No, so far so good.
Okay, I'll squeeze the item in after the leadership updates. All right, I hear no further items, so let's go. Still, we have applicants in the pipeline. Some things are lagging because I am the bottleneck, and surprise, surprise, I need to put a lot of time and effort in the AI Act deadline of February 7th. Thankfully, we're redistributing tasks, and one of the things on the table is to have Behnaz more involved in the contact with existing people and with new people in the exchange from the leadership team. So we're going to get some help, meaning that people will have to wait a little less on getting onboarded and getting responses from us. So pipeline still needs to be resolved. Reminders: Slack is our main communication channel. Visit it regularly. If you're unavailable, please share. If you need anything, if you have impediments, let leadership know. Help make noise for the exchange. I'll get to that later. We can do more on the promotion part. I think we're getting some good traction, of course, but I think we can do more, and we can also discuss if there are any ideas on how we could do this. Again, in our work, we focus on what is AI specific. So we're not going to discuss penetration testing, but we are going to discuss AI red teaming. And when we use the Google documents, we always use suggest or review mode so that everything that we do is traceable and we know who typed certain things. Okay, those were the safety instructions for our flight. Updates from our side. As said, Behnaz is being onboarded in the leadership team, working currently on the redistribution of tasks. Effectively, she was part of the teams starting January 1st. I used the announcement of the red teaming section on LinkedIn to also announce Behnaz onboarding to give it more exposure. And I think that worked out great. So now also the world knows that Behnaz is part of the leadership team. We're exploring opportunities for sponsoring and further funding. So it's not to turn our work into paid jobs, but to get funding for having artwork created, t-shirts, mugs, and also travel costs if your employer is not taking care of that, to certain opportunities to be on stage, for example. I've been investigating the lack of Japanese and Chinese involvement in our group. This was triggered by a remark from Etsy. So Etsy, as you may know, is together with Sensonatic, they represent the standardization organizations in Europe. Etsy is looking into collaborating with the AI Exchange. And they noticed that there is very little involvement from a number of Asian countries. So India is well represented, but South Korea and China and Japan are not. So I brought this up in the leaders channel of OWASP. I contacted the Japanese chapter representative, and he assured me that the Japanese crowd is quite involved and also in projects. He wasn't sure about the Chinese involvement. There are active chapters there. They are involved in making translations, which is of course very helpful. But I'm just interested in how we can get more involvement from that part of the world, because the more the merrier, but also because I think there may be an opportunity here for OWASP in general to get more involvement. Not sure. So I'm exploring there, and I contacted Chinese chapter leaders, waiting for a response. And I'm mentioning it here for your information, but also to perhaps get information for you to see if you have any ideas on what's going on involvement-wise, and perhaps things that we can do about it. Anyway, please speak freely.
I think China would be a little tricky because of all these different ways that they can actually connect to different platforms. Japan is probably a little easier because again, like I don't speak for everyone, but I find like China is like more closed than open, like US and most of the European countries. Japan probably falls into the same category as US and Europe. I think China would be a little tricky. That's just my impression or my read on things. And in fact, like I see the same challenge for another community that I belong to, which is for application leaders. We have the same challenge for China, but we have one chapter that we are launching in Japan. So,
okay, interesting. Any other observations, ideas? Okay.
I think China also has a different focus on their usage of AI, right? Most Western countries, US, even Japan, South Korea, whatnot, are focusing on the human aspect and how organizations can apply it safely. China's focus on AI is more about national security and less about the impact on their society. So I don't know. I don't know if, kind of to Aaron Escher's point, being such a closed ecosystem, if even their goals would align with ours.
Yeah, that makes sense. These are very nuanced differences sometimes, because as we all know, privacy has less attention that part of the world, but then again, safety does, especially safety with AI. And this is where China has also explicitly stated they want to be more of a standard setter than a standard follower. And their motivation is to, well, at least one motivation is to underline the trustworthiness of their AI products, right? So as an economy, they can benefit tremendously for taking leadership over, for example, the security of AI, which is what interests me, because I expect expertise and motivation, and imagine that it could be helpful. it's not critical, but yeah, I do see sort of the cultural differences and sort of the societal differences, and as Aaronese indicated, the firewall and tool-based differences, all kinds of impediments. I think it's cool to further pursue this, and if it's a dead end, it's a dead end, and I'll report back to the board with what I found, including your observations, chat and rules.
Like I have like a quick update on this one. So I have a friend of mine who's based out of Australia. He's originally from China itself. He's not part of OWASP, but I've asked him to see if he can actually make some introductions on the China side, because he works closely in that ecosystem. And if he can actually provide some leads, I'll try to get at least 1 or 2 people through his channel and see what they have to say and how much they can share freely.
Yeah, please do. He may have some insights also with regards to tools and societal impediments, if any. Yeah.
I think from a technological and a technical perspective, AI systems don't work unless they're secure. So it seems that anyone who's using AI systems has interest aligned with securing them, especially if they're using them at scale.
Yeah, indeed. I think, Rock, what you're referring to is if you could, for example, compare the AI Act with Chinese legislation.
Yes.
The AI Act is much more geared at individuals' safety and fundamental rights. Those things, and this is a sensitive topic, of course, are very likely different in the different parts of the world. But indeed, I expect some interest in AI security, and it would be cool to onboard some Chinese people. Let's investigate.
Yeah, I agree. The more the merrier. I just think I think that's a significant reason of why you don't have more involvement, right? It's kind of back to Anish's point, how freely can they share things anyways, right? So
yeah, indeed.
Because I based on at least my historical interactions with China, having done some federal contracting, they would, I presume they consider that kind of state secrets, how they're securing their AI, right? So it's going to be a case of how free are they to share and contribute.
Yeah, I have those observations also. I also have the observations that counter this. One thing is for sure, it is good for OWASP's name as a partner for international standardization organizations if we're representing more parts of the world. That inclusivity is an important sort of value for these organizations, which is why they now are frowning their eyebrows based on their observations from OWASP.
Oh yeah, and I don't disagree with you at all. I'm just making an observation. I think that's where the gap is.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for your insights, and Aaronese, looking forward to what you get out of your Chinese friend. All right, let's move to the insight that is delivered, that we need to do more promotion. We can do more promotion. I'm not intending to solve that problem in this session, but it does make me iterate my call to you to seek what opportunities you have to, for example, repost on LinkedIn and also share. If, for example, let's take a nice example. So UV played a big role in the AI red teaming section, and his company AI Shield posted something today, which is good for UV, it's good for AI Shield, it's good for the AI Exchange, because the network connected to AI Shield gets exposed to our brand, so to speak. So I think these are good opportunities. And of course, we are all aware of them, but it's also good to be reminded of them. And outreach is one of the themes. I know that Aaronese is quite keen on this topic, and yeah, it should be high on the list of the leadership discussions, and see how we can give it more attention.
Yeah, I might have a slide on this one in a few minutes.
Good. Talking about the AI Act. So we contributed a lot of content, and we're currently in a sprint, which is technically finished. So the work that we needed to do on the draft is now past its deadline, and I'm using it to integrate it into final updates before it goes into draft. And the plan A is to take that draft into country ballot on February 7th, which I'll be very happy when it's February 7th, because it's been quite a journey with you guys. So this is my top priority right now, integrating those OWASP contributions and solving open points. And I'm going to share the biggest open points with you to see if you have any ideas or pointers on how to solve this. The open point with the highest priority is this. We're creating what is called a harmonized standard. And that standard sets a clear bar. It is actually a legal requirement for a provider, and it can keep companies from putting their product on the European market. So it's quite severe if you don't comply, which is why this standard needs to be objectively verifiable. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen normative security standards, but they typically say you should do A, B, C, and D, or you should do X, Y, and Z. That doesn't work like that for AI security, because every control has, just a small mitigation, and in combination, they can have additional mitigation, but it all depends on the data and the context and the use case and the intended use. So you cannot provide a finite set of recipes that will work, which means that you need to build on flexibility for the provider of an AI product to select controls. And of course, it depends on whether the attacks are relevant, but it also depends on how effective the controls are in the situation. And the thing is that we need to find a clear way for providers to be able to provide a rationale of the controls that they selected and how they configured it, and explain how it mitigates the AI security risks sufficiently. And this is an unsolved problem. I wonder if this is clear to you, and I wonder if you have any insights that may be helpful as reflections to solve this problem. Susanna.
Yeah, so when I was working on that previous data poisoning thing, I made a whole proposal for a regulatory structure in that paper. I will send it to folks to look at and review, but at the time I understood that it was out of scope, so I just didn't include it with anything that I submitted. But I did work on something for that, and I'll put it in and see what people think about it.
Okay, yeah, please send it to me. Thanks for reminding me actually of this, because it is relevant. Any other insights or thoughts?
I'd be curious if you sorry, I don't know I'm sorry to mispronounce your name. If you have any highlights from that, I'd be curious how you had solved it with that write-up you did before.
Okay, so very briefly, I'm always about the failure modes and effects analysis, so that's kind of how I structured it. My idea was to create a standardized reporting system so that companies could report their mitigations, and I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to go too into the weeds on the details. But then to create an interface that would allow them for seamless filing of something similar to an FMEA, and also reporting of incidents and mitigations. The goal being to, in addition to making it easy for regulators to just pop up in a database and see who's in compliance, we would also be building a data set of what mitigations were actually effective in production. So it's a little bit lofty, But yeah, that's kind of the general idea is file something in advance. We have a standardized system. We could throw up an interface pretty quickly. And then we've got a database that regulators can easily search and researchers potentially too. That's my general idea.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks for joining, by the way, Anthony. I didn't see you yet. Hey, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Any other insights on how we can so again, the subject of the standard needs freedom in the selection of controls. And in order to make this objectively verifiable, we need comprehensive requirements on the set of acceptable justifications for the choice of controls. You can't just say, you know, the provider of the product, the vendor, should select controls and explain why they mitigate the risk. That's not sufficient for the vendor to know when this explanation is, you know, justified, and also not for the assessor. So we need to have comprehensive requirements. But the thing is, we're dealing with all kinds of use cases, from medical devices to HR systems. Yeah, I'm struggling a lot to create even a principle-based requirements for these justifications. Any other thoughts? Yep. And I don't blame you. There's a reason that I and all the other experts are scratching their heads on how to solve this problem. I'll update you when we get further in addressing this. And Suzanne, looking forward to that input of you. All right, so that's the status of the AI Act, and I think that brings us to Ahmed's point: internal organization. Who is who? So I'll make a note that we'll put this on paper. AI exchange. Who is who? So from the top of my head, we're organized in Slack channels that cover certain themes. And these Slack channels, they are, for example, Project AI requirements or Project AI red teaming. And they correspond with initiative that we have in our big table of to-do items. And each initiative has, with some exceptions, but most initiatives have a contact person. And that person you can contact, but you can contact anyone in that list that we keep in the big to-do table to be involved, or you can contact leadership to get involved. We don't yet have an overview of these channels. We do have an overview of the themes. I think, yeah, we need to clarify this and make it easier to find and have a sort of a clear overview of who you can contact for which topic. That's basically the organization around themes in the exchange. Was that sort of addressing your question for now, apart from the details, Ahmed, or is there more?
No, it's not. Okay, I know who is who or how to talk with who, but thanks for taking the time to re-clarify this. My thing was that I found a problem understanding that those tasks or those things were related to AI Act, and those are completely separable and not correlated with the AI requirements, for example. Okay, that those
the
are
relation
certain set
between,
of tasks, and those are another certain set of tasks.
yeah.
That's what, like, I would say who is who, yes, and what is what. So it's
Okay.
like two questions. Yeah, I'm just suggesting, huh?
Okay.
Thank you.
The requirements project is actually the only odd one out here. And it aims to specify AI security requirements with as a urgent goal to provide input to international standards. We've done so already, and we're continuing to do so. And it's a great vehicle to produce material that we can then, and insights that we can then reintegrate into the AI exchange. So it's sort of what's the right word? It's in Dutch it's called a broedkamer. Asking ChatGPT. And it's thinking really hard. Incubator. Yes, it's an incubator of content. So it actually is, of course, to help the world and to show that we know our thing and to contribute to international standards. But at the same time, all the insights that we get from this, it's an incubator for that, and that will flow right into the AI exchange. So that's the mechanism there. Does that provide the clarification that you were looking for, Amit?
Yes.
Good.
Now I can say it's crystal clear. Thank you.
I'll make sure that this is added also for, for new members, etc., for people to understand this from that overview that I intend to write. Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Which leads us to updates on the Exchange website. As said, so the focus has been on the AI Act requirements as the incubator, which means a lot of updates on that work, but not on OWASP AI. I extended the list of media that we have, including Bena's and Susanna's presentation recordings on our media site, fixed the number of typos. Susanna fixed one, and we got some external contributors who are keen on spelling. And that's great. So more contributions like that. And a big change, hooray, the AI red teaming was added. And I want to use the opportunity to give Banaz the word on behalf of her team. I think it calls indeed for a celebration. But before I do so, I put this on LinkedIn, and we're by now at 25K views, a lot of reposts, a lot of comments, a lot of likes, very good responses, no strange responses at all. I got one question on an OWASP Slack channel asking the good question. So how does this relate to the work that's going on at the LLM Top 10? And I worked with Banaz to get some more a better picture of this. And here's the story. So in March last year, we started with the AI red teaming initiative. Then around summer, the LLM Top 10 started with their own initiative. And people who are up to date, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
So there was contact, and I think John Soteropoulos initiated it, saying, hey guys, you both are on the same topic, see if you can collaborate. So Banaz and team started to also work on the guide from the LLM Top 10, and their purpose is to write a comprehensive manual for red teaming. It's not what we were aiming for. We were aiming for an overview of tools and linking those to the threads. So in that sense, the content that we created and the content from the LLM Top 10 is complementary. And also Banaz and others are attributed in the publication of the LLM Top 10 red teaming guide that is about to come out. It can come out any day now, I believe. So I had to sort of dive into that to understand the force field there, and also to update you on the different initiatives going on. This is what it looks like. You've probably seen it. So we now have this new button here, AI security testing, and it's of course here on the left side. This is the page with a nice permanent link, an introduction, threats to test for, mapping the tools to the tests and to the threads, and the threads to the tools. Here on the right side, of course, you can see the structure of this page with the different coverages of the tools, and also ending with tool ratings. Fantastic addition to the AI Exchange. So again, Benas and team, thank you very much. I should mention Rajiv, Juvi, Nina, and Dan for the contributions, and I'm probably forgetting some names. But I'll leave the floor now to Benas to provide some insights in the process and where we are right now.
Yeah, actually, so thanks, Rob. So the response has been amazing so far, and I received the different feedback from the different people that what we done, it's amazing. And I received some feedback from some of managers at Accenture. They started to read it, and I received the wonderful feedback from them. And what we did is actually amazing, and I think it's a collective effort and teamwork that we made together and made that all of this possible, and it's amazing, and we should all of us actually proud of it. And I have to say that I want to say that thank you, Rajiv, I think it's not there, and Yuvi, and even during the holiday, so when all of us were on holiday, including myself, we made the time to meet and work together, and this kind of collaboration is actually what truly makes this team exceptional. And thank you for all of the team, Nina and Dan, for being so supportive. But I have to mention something that I just want to take a moment to give a very special thank you to Yuvi. So Yuvi has been with us for a long time, and it's truly one of the best people I've ever had the pleasure to work with, alongside the other of all people in AI Red Team and at OWASP AI Exchange. And so I want to say that the motivation, dedication, and commitment from them Yuvi is very wonderful, and I deeply appreciated everything you've done and did. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for all of you done in our group. And so I have to mention that this is this document is not finished. We will, in future, we will add other tools as well, and continuously we improve the document, and we will add other section, for example, as we mentioned, Rob, maybe penetration testing, and somehow they're related to the EU-AI Act, and we have lots of the things to do in future. But yeah, finally, thank you, everyone.
Wow, this is like a sort of an Oscar acceptance speech. And you've earned it. It's amazing teamwork.
Yeah.
You regularly asked for review. I was in most cases very honest in my review, but you took it like very seriously. And yeah, the result, the markdown file was, as I said at the beginning, before we officially started, of remarkable precision and quality. And I think that causes the resonation in the industry now. So wonderful, great teamwork, and indeed continuation. One of the things is looking at the AI Act draft to include the strategies for the different, mostly predictive AI tests. So what do you actually do as a tester with these tools? I mean, these tools are instruments, but it's the work is quite manual still by design, and some working out some of these strategies. Those are indeed very welcome next steps. I also like how it fits into the exchange, sort of into the structure. With all the links back and forward to the threads and to the controls. It's working very well.
A couple of words from me, if I may add. Thank you, first of all, for the kind words. Benas really was kind to say that. I think couple of points from what we had from this activity. One, we had a very long document of a lot of things related to red teaming. One of the decisions that we took, which was really pivotal, was to have something tangible. Having the first version out, having the sort of the feedback. We also had multiple iterations of having how to represent this. That was the biggest challenge, I think. And currently, now that the floor is open, we have good feedback, and we will incorporate more and more feedback from the team and from external people as well. So all that in, I think this will only get better from here on.
Lovely. Thanks, guys. And yeah, congratulations with this achievement. Really wonderful. Something other wonderful that's going on is there's an, as you know, an OWASP website, OWASP AI website remake in the making. What you see here is a screenshot from what the people working on this have been designing. So they created the current sitemap. So this is not meant to let you see all the details, but just to show progress going on there. They created a new sitemap, and they're going to work with us to verify if this resonates, and then start implementing this in the Yugo platform, and in the process also improve layout, design, etc. But first of all, they're using a priority guide paradigm to improve the information flow of people using OWASP AI Exchange. Currently, it's a bit of a, how do you say, rough around the edges to navigate. Not technically, but from an information design point of view. And these guys know what they're doing. So this is just to show you work in progress, and then you can expect a couple of updates for us to discuss in the coming weeks and months. All right, on promotion, and I think this is your slide, Avanish, isn't it?
Yeah, so like the next 3 slides. So these are like bunch of upcoming conferences that have something to do with AI. And again, like you pick up any conference these days, they definitely have like a AI component to it, right? Like if you look at the number of submissions that came in RSA, there were like 2,800 submissions, out of which a significant, at least that's what I've been told, a significant number of those submissions are related to AI, right? So it's not a surprise that these many conferences have something to do with AI these days, right? And some of them, like if you look at the first one, Developer Week, which is more of a developer, not like a security or AI conference, but even Developer Week is has like an AI component, right? So first 2 conferences that are listed, Developer Week and CactusCon, one is in San Francisco, one is Arizona. It's happening next month, and I am presenting at both the conferences. It's literally back to back, so it's going to be a challenge. But the point of mentioning this one, we should not just limit ourselves to going to a conference which is branded as AI, right? We should look at conferences which are like, could be even broader, like a AWS conference, for example, right? There's definitely AI track in these ones. So these 2 conferences are upcoming, and again, like CFP for this one was closed many months ago. And this is a list of conferences that even if you're not presenting, at least attending those is going to be useful. And many of these are happening now in person. There's only a limited set of conference which happens online. The only exception being Developer Week, even though the in-person is 11th through the 13th of February, there is a rebroadcast of this one in a online version on February 17th to the 19th also. So if you can actually carve out some time, it's going to be on the Pacific time. So it might be a little late for folks in Australia and India, but definitely you can actually sign up. I believe those sessions are going to be recorded. So definitely take out time. There's another conference happening for ISACA February, and Banaz is actually presenting there on a panel. So that these are like the few things that are happening in February. Then we have another conference happening in New York, AI 2030. It's happening March 26th and 27th. I believe this one is also closed and it's like a closed door conference. So you won't be accepted for a CFP, but definitely there are a lot of like thought leaders who are presenting at this particular forum. RSA 2025, April 28th to May 1st. The CFP decision should be coming out sometime end of this particular month. So definitely look out for decisions in your inboxes. And I know a few folks within the group have done the submissions. Black Hat CFP is not open yet, but that's happening August 2nd to the 7th. OWASP Barcelona, which is happening, I think it's in late part of May. The CFP is still open. The CFT was closed last week, but the CFP is open till Jan 31st. And if you want to actually collaborate on this one, I think we should definitely do a few submissions on behalf of AI Exchange. There's another big conference, AI 2024, the third to the last itself. That's also very prominent. I think last year, almost like 8,000 people attending that conference. So it's definitely getting the traction. We should definitely look at this one. InfoSec UK for folks in Europe. You should actually look at this particular, and I'll add more details for the CFP for this one. And similar to RSA B-side San Francisco, also happening, the CFP unfortunately is already closed. But these are like list of upcoming reputable conferences, and there might be more, right? And if you come across any conference that you feel like is reputable and can definitely give us the promotion or extra kick, I mean, definitely reach out or maybe directly add to. There is a Word document. I can send the link for. I think it's already there in this one. You can actually add it directly. So this presentation slide can also be updated for the next session. Look, let's go to the next one. I think this is for the OWASP Barcelona happening in Europe. The CFP is currently open. And if we need, if there are many people who are willing to actually do that, we can actually stand up a Slack channel to coordinate the submission process. Last year, we did something similar, but it was like named folks. I think Susanna was there, Dan was there, bunch of folks were there. But if we can actually create like a Slack channel that we can actually use not only for this one, but for going forward, right? And one thing that I've learned, if you do a submissions alone, the chances are a little less. If you explore the option of co-presenting with other folks, I think the chances of getting accepted in conference is a bit higher, unless you're like a Steve Wilson or Rob, right? Then your name counts and does the magic, right? But if you're like me or somebody else who is only known in limited circles, chances of getting an acceptance, it's a little lower. So definitely consider like co-presenting with folks. Any thoughts or inputs from anyone on this one or even the previous set of conferences?
Rock.
Yeah. So on the Gen AI side, OWASP is doing essentially a half-day summit at RSA. I wonder if we can get some time there to speak specifically about the exchange or the work we're doing.
Actually,
with AI.
I'm in conversation with Scott on this one. If we can actually get like the slot, like, so last year we did like a AI exchange, like a premiere on that one, just give like more visibility. I think we can definitely go a little deeper on this one. Unfortunately, just like last year, it's only a half day. It's I think 8:30 to 11:30 or maybe 12:30. So we only get like
8:30 to 1.
Yeah, so I was actually proposing if we can actually create a time slot for a workshop also. But unfortunately, RSA only allows access to a particular room for a limited set of hours.
Yeah.
So definitely that's already in the works. If you can get like some time, most definitely.
All right, so I'm on those calls. I'll bring it up next week on Monday. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, I said like I'm also on most of
Oh,
those
are you?
calls.
Oh, you weren't on this week, were you?
Yeah, and this week, yeah,
Okay.
Dominic, my last 2
Sorry.
weeks have been not so pleasant. It has been crazy busy.
Tells you I need more coffee.
Benas?
Okay.
Yes, I want to mention that Yubi and I, we will submit about one topic that we are working on it. And so on a OWASP Barcelona, and we will actually, I wanted to submit other 3 different topic as well. And I will share it, which topics I will choose. But still, I think we have only 1 week.
Yeah, it's until the 31st indeed.
Yeah, exactly.
So Eranish, if I want to add OWASP Barcelona, I can do it right here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it real quick based on the input from Benas. So we have OWASP BCN, and for reasons of time, I'll keep this very short here. So we have Yubi and Benas submit a talk, right?
Yes.
And we have Rob submitted training on the AI exchange, and I'm gonna submit a talk with Spiros Hastaratos.
Actually, I met Spiros in London last week.
Oh, you did? What a guy!
Yeah,
Eh?
yeah, interesting conversation.
So it's going to be about threat modeling OpenCRE, which has an AI chatbot, and we bumped into a lot of security vulnerabilities with the AI exchange, and we have one more. Machines can see that is taking place from the top of my head. No, not from the top of my head, from the website, April 23, 24 in Dubai. So it's Middle East AI Summit. So we have Eugene, who's going to be there in a panel. We have, I think, Susanna. Don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but for now,
I'm on the panel.
you're on the panel. And do you get confirmation?
Yes, I need to send them on my bio and all that stuff they're waiting on, but yes.
Yeah, then it's pretty sure.
Incredible.
And Rob, what I did is I was invited to give a talk there, and I said you guys should do more on AI security. I know a bunch of good people, and I basically gave them a long list of names for them to pick on, and based on what they were looking for, the profiles they were looking for, they made this selection, which goes to show that I do think we have a bunch of interesting profiles in the AI Exchange team, and I think that's it from my side for now. Back to you, Anish.
And is this in person?
This is in person, yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh wow, I love to travel, but I don't think so with all the travel that's happening this year. I can make this.
I can imagine. Oh, and that leads me to a question I forgot to ask. Because you've looked into these conferences so diligently, which one of these should be on my short list to submit to, apart from OWASP? Where do you think, if I need to pick 2, because I also have a maximum amount of travel that I can do in a year, which ones would those be, Eranish, or others perhaps?
I think RSA is definitely, I would have said RSA, but that's already closed. But again, like you have to actually look at where you will get like the maximum buck, right? And again, like between you, me, and everybody else, we only have like so many vacation days, right? Unless your company is allowing you to actually do that. I think AI 2024 is definitely something that I would encourage because it's a large conference specific to AI, right? Like what I
Yeah.
find between Black Hat and RSA, I think there are like 10 different tracks. Like RSA has like 10 tracks that they published out, right? AI was just one. If you look at AI 4, for example, that's exclusively for AI. So that would be one. And again, like for me, traveling to Europe is usually a little difficult as compared to US, and maybe for you it might be the same thing. InfoSec UK might be another one where the acceptance might be slightly easier, and getting an exposure for not just for UK but all of Europe might give us the stage itself.
Okay.
And again, like half of our group is either based out of UK or maybe somewhere in that area, right? So these would like be my top two that I would say for folks in UK or EU
Thank
that
you.
should come.
And could we use the Google document that is linked in the slide deck just to keep note of our intentions and the things that we submitted? I guess it's a good
Yeah.
place to record it.
Yeah, and in fact, like I'm actually going to actually move it to maybe a Google Sheet itself. It's right now I started on this one, but I think moving to Google Sheet might be give us more freedom to actually add more columns and put like a status and what have you, right?
Nice. Sounds good.
If you're putting submissions on there, I also submitted to RSA. We'll see how that goes, but I tried.
Fingers crossed. Anything more to add from you, Aranish, on
Yeah, let's actually cover I know we only have 5 minutes left, but let's look at slide number quickly.
12, 13?
Yeah, so there's like upcoming conferences itself. There is some guidance about like what we should do as part of our engagement and communication. And slide number 13 is what we talked about a few minutes ago around like the promotion ideas beyond these conferences, right? And this is something that we can actually explore a little more, like having a webinar would be a useful thing to do. And using that webinar, we can also consider maybe have like snippets on YouTube, you shoot shorts or something on Twitter itself. Blogs, definitely we should actually write blogs more and more. I mean, we have what 20 people, not 15 people on the call. So if say half of the group actually creates blog, we are getting at least like 8 people blogging, and if we can do like a monthly cadence, that gives us almost like 120 sizable blogs throughout the year, right? And whenever we do the blogs, definitely tag AI Exchange. And whenever you are presenting at a conference, whether it's AI related topic or otherwise, I do it all the time, right? I would actually give credit to, okay, I'm part of ISACA, I'm part of like OWASP itself, I'm like part of this particular group in a leadership capacity, so that people actually notice it. And I would always create like a QR code on one of my slides so that people actually go and find out more about this one. Uh, Another idea could be if you're doing an AI certification itself, most of the people would actually put it on LinkedIn itself. While you're putting it, just tag like AI Exchange along with that one, right? It gets more credibility and it's like cross branding also that's happening. Talk about your involvement with AI Exchange in your presentations. I think it's, and also another thing that I think we should actually do a little more is there are almost like, I don't know the exact number, there are a lot of chapters across the world within OWASP, right? So within those chapters, if you can actually get a communication with the chapter leaders, you can actually present at those local chapters also. So it's not like the big conference that you should go. There are a lot of chapter level conferences that you can actually consider. Some of them have gone in person, so unfortunately it's not like virtual, but that's another idea for getting our word out more and more. I know, Anthony, you had raised your hand like a few minutes ago.
Yes, I posted in the chat, and before we wrap up, I had just a quick question. So I'm presenting at a conference in a week the disaster recovery business continuity conference in Las Vegas. And the slide deck's already finalized, but verbally I could promote the OWASP exchange. The audience isn't massive, but my question is, what is the main talking points you would want? I think I know, but just wanted to double check. So would it be something along the lines of OWASP Exchange was a core contributor to the AI Act, and the OWASP Exchange is something you should get familiar with because it provides concrete guidance based on a collaborative open source expert community? Is that the main gist of it?
Yeah,
On how you'd want to be known? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, something on those. Sorry, Rob, you were going to say.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's something on those lines where we can actually a couple of talking points on this one. One is like you're contributing member for OWASP AI Exchange, right? So that's one extra thing that you can add, and you can talk about other things that recently you talked about, right? AI requirements, AI Act is getting fed from AI Exchange, right? And having like a logo or maybe a link to the website itself, maybe with a QR code, it actually would come in handy. And I mean, I can possibly help create one particular slide for everyone to do that one. I know the BCP, the resilience one, might not have much to do with AI directly, but could be a slide that we can actually add. Rob?
Yeah, indeed. I'd like to always think in terms of what does the audience get out of it. In this case, business continuity conference. People are dealing increasingly with AI, connecting it to everything. So it's an immediate danger to the business continuity, and organizations should get their AI security in order. And a good place to start and a good place to use as reference is the comprehensive overview of the OWASP AI Exchange, of which you are a member. And then you can, as part of that sort of pitch for people to look at OWASPAI.org, create some credibility by saying this is not just some random amateur collecting data. This is a large group of professionals who are providing their content flowing straight into ISO and AI Act standards. But that would make the main message to give people sort of a key takeaway of a resource that they can use to tackle this problem.
All right, thank you. Great, got it.
And it's 6 o'clock, at least on my clock, but it is the hour, which leaves no room for any sort of impediments or urgent updates from the work streams. It was a bit by design because there were a couple of things that I wanted to discuss, at least in this session, and we managed to do so. If there's any pressing matters around work streams, please use the Slack channel or find the leadership team directly, and we'll work it out. Having said that, I wish you a wonderful remainder of the evening or the day or the night, wherever you are, and see you on Slack.